Hi, so we're going to do an activity. We're going to create a diagram of a brain. So in my last video, when I was reading this book right here, Your Fantastic Elastic Brain, okay, there was a picture, this one right here, and we're actually going to do something like this. And you know how it's all, sorry, I can't point very well with this new surface. So it's blue right here where the cerebrum is, and then the, sorry, can't point again, the prefrontal cortex is right here, and then the cerebellum is red. Okay, so all the parts are different colors. We're actually going to do the same thing as they did here, but we're going to use food. Okay, so it's going to be this exact same picture, but we're going to use food. I'll show you how. Okay, so let me turn this around. I'll give you kind of a, I did an example. Okay, so this is basically what it's going to look like. Okay, so there's the Twizzler is the spinal cord, right? So that's not actually on there, but I just decided the spinal cord connects everything, so that's what we're going to do. So right here's the cerebellum. That is made with orange M&Ms, and then over here is the prefrontal cortex. I made that with blue M&Ms. And then the peanuts back here, all the way around the peanuts, that's the cerebrum. And then the raisins is the hippocampus, right? So it's supposed to be kind of like a tube, right? That goes kind of this way and goes up like this and kind of down like that, right? So that's the raisins. And then the Smarty right here, that's the amygdala, okay? So that's the parts of the brain. So we're gonna just go ahead and use it. So this is kind of we're going to use it like a sketch, right? A stencil, as it were. Stencil's probably better, so I'm going to move that out of the way. Move that. All right, so that's the blank one. And it looks a whole lot closer than it really is. It's actually quite a bit far away. Okay. And let me switch my camera around again. Okay, let me just show some of what I'm using. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna use Smarties. And you have to make sure when you're doing this, this is just to help you remember the different parts of the brain. Okay, so like it's just fun, and it's good practice, right? So eating the food is fine. You need to eat the food. Eat all of it. Okay, so Smarties, M&Ms, Twizzlers. So these are like way more Twizzlers than I ever need for this activity, but I bought a package. They're great for snacking. So anyways, Twizzlers. Let's see. Raisins. I made raisins. And then peanuts. Okay. And so the this is actually what I took it from. This is basically what it looks like inside the book is kind of what this looks like. So we'll label it. Well, we'll try to label it afterwards. And okay, so we'll do this. Back around. Okay. So I guess the easiest thing to start with is the peanuts. I'm just going to take the peanuts. I am just going to lay them on there like so. Peanuts. Just so you know, I like peanuts. Hopefully I can get a better view of this, whoops, later. All right, so we're just gonna put it on like this. And the cerebrum is the biggest part of the brain, right? So it goes front to back, front to back. Okay, so it's pretty much the biggest part of the brain. And let's see, put that there a little bit like that. Okay, and a few little like some of the skins from the peanuts. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead like right here. We talked about how this is the prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex is right in the front of your brain. Okay, so basically it's the forehead. Okay, and so that is, we're gonna go ahead and use, you can use whatever, like I think a good substitute for this, so I used M&Ms. You could use Skittles. I didn't even think about that. You could use like a certain color of Skittles. Okay, so I think on the example one I did blue. So this time I think I'm going to use the brown M&Ms. Brown. Okay, so like that. So it looks like that. Okay, and okay, so what else have we got? So right here, this little tiny baby thing right there. That's the amygdala. Again, you can use whatever you want to for it. I actually had intended to use Red Hots for that. You know, the little red candies. I intended to use that right there because they were tiny enough, but I decided to go with Smarties. So Smarties, oops. Just take a Smartie. And feel free to eat the Smarties. The Smarties will make you bigger. The Smarties will make you smarter and brighter. Take it from me. It works. Okay. So then for this, for the hippocampus, right? So the hippocampus, if you look at this, so it's not going to look exactly like this with the raisins, but it goes like here, up here, and then down like that, right? And then there's a little part that goes off like right there. So they're harder. The raisins are a little harder to put in there, but it's not awful. So, right, so raisins. I'm just gonna take these and put them like that. This. And like I said, if you find something else that's just easier to work with, whatever you like, another dried fruit or whatever you want to do it with. This is all, it's whatever you want to do. You can find your kids' favorite dried fruits, chocolates, whatever, and use those. Okay, so we're gonna put that in here like that. We're gonna put that in there like that. Oops. Okay, of course. Boop. Still got a few left. Gonna eat those. And so that's kind of what it looks like so far. Remember, that's the prefrontal cortex. The cerebrum is the peanuts. The Smartie is the amygdala. And then the raisins are the hippocampus, right? So it goes kind of up here like this, then it kind of goes down like this, then up and around like that. And then, so we're going to do, let's see, the cerebellum. This one, let's see, what did I use? I used a brown, so I think, oops, I'm gonna use a red. Okay, so red. Just put them in there like that. This, okay, and you can just that, okay, and then of course, so this is the cerebellum. Of course, we're missing the spinal cord. So the spinal cord is super important, right? So of course, that's not on the actual picture of the brain, but the spinal cord is what goes down the back of your neck, and it goes down the center of your back, down all the way down to your lower back, right? So that is very important because that's how everything that the brain does and how it controls the body, it all happens through the spinal cord. It's all passed down through the spinal cord. Okay, so for this, I like to like kind of measure it. Hold on. Let me move it up a little bit. Okay, kind of measure it. See, so it's like way too big. So it's like right here, and I'll eat it. I'll put it down again. Let's see. Ah, there we go. Still kind of long. Like that. Oh, crap. Okay, there we go. All right, so hold on. Try to focus a little bit here. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Okay. Now, let me get a pen. Sorry, I forgot a pen, so I had to get up and get one. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move that. Okay, so I'm going to sit here and write this. I'm going to move this over here for right now, so I can write this, and then I'll show you what it looks like after. While I'm writing, I'm going to eat these here Smarties. Okay. All right. So the peanuts, we said, were the cerebrum. And if you remember the brown M&Ms, or at your forehead, right? So they represent the prefrontal cortex. And that is obviously your forehead. So prefrontal cortex is kind of a long one. So prefrontal cortex. So PFC. Okay. And then I'm going to label the Twizzler. So we remember the spinal cord. And then the Smartie, we are going to do the amygdala. If you remember, the amygdala is just a little part of the brain, very tiny. Amygdala actually, I didn't know if you knew this, means almond. in whatever language. They don't say in the book, they just say that it means almond. And I think it's probably, maybe it's the size of an almond or looks like an almond. So we're gonna draw an arrow. Okay, we're gonna do amygdala. Okay, then if you remember the red M&Ms that I put, those are the cerebellum. Cerebellum is looking at the back of the brain. Cerebellum. And then lastly, so the hippocampus is what's attached to the amygdala. And it's the tube, kind of goes, the amygdala's here, and then it kind of goes out like this, and it comes back and comes around. I'll show it to you again. So that's the hippocampus. Okay. So I'm just going to label at the top parts of the brain. I'm going to switch my camera around here. Okay, so this, right? So it's kind of, my handwriting isn't fabulous, but this is basically what it looks like, right? So labeled peanuts, the red M&Ms, cerebellum, right? Then up here, the cerebrum, and then remember the brown M&Ms right here, that's the prefrontal cortex. And the smarty is the amygdala, hippocampus, it's the raisins, and then of course I went ahead and added the Twizzler right here as the spinal cord. So that's basically what it is. And now you can do the best part out of the whole thing. Put my thing down here, turn my thing back around. Now you can do the best thing in the whole wide world. This is the spinal cord. You can eat it. And this is part of the prefrontal cortex. You can eat that too. So now, not only is it great learning, but you can eat it. Anyways, that's all. Bye.